Here we've got a lovely piece of green sea glass, and I'm just wrapping it tightly with some fine silver bezel strip. I'm making sure I keep that bezel strip upright. I don't want it leaning in towards the stone. So once I've got it nice and tight, I mark the overlap with a scribe. Using some flush cutters, I cut the bezel strip and then file it so it's neat. Once my two ends meet perfectly, it's time to solder them closed, so I'm just fluxing it here with some borax and then sitting the joint directly on top of a pallion of hard solder. I'm then soldering it closed and then a quick dip in some pickle to clean it. Quick check that the sea glass fits, and then it's time to make sure the back is completely flat, ready to solder onto the base. I'm just scribing the base here so I know where to saw. Okay, so now my bezel is ready to solder on top of the back plate. And just make sure that it fits nicely. I like to create a little bridge out of my soldering blocks. That ensures I can get some heat underneath. So I've fluxed it, start warming that flux through, and then I'm going to add my pieces of solder. Once it's soldered, it's cooled and then popped into the pickle. And then we're just going to saw the back plate so it's nice and flush with the bezel and filing it neat. Once it's been filed, we come in with a buff stick just to ensure we've got a nice piece that looks like it's one piece of silver. So after that, just to check that the sea glass still fits, we lay across some dental floss and then pop the sea glass into place. The dental floss will ensure we can pop the sea glass out easily. So we're just going to scribe along the edge here to ensure that our bezel is the correct height, and this line's just going to tell me where I can file to. So I'm just going to solder my bail on here. You can see me applying the solder using my paintbrush that's got my borax on it, and I'm just warming it through to solder the bail in situ. And then I'm just adding a jump ring to the top, holding the jump ring in some tweezers in my third arm and applying the solder using a pick. Quick dip in the pickle, and then it's clean and polish using a brass brush and my polishing motor. I've got a piece of chamois leather here coated in some polish that I insert into the jump ring to give that area a polish up. And now it's time to set the sea glass. I'm going to pop my sea glass in, and using a burnisher I'm just going to push down on a 45-degree angle to clamp the sea glass into place. Once it is clamped in intervals, usually north, south, east and west, I can then start setting in between those areas, ensuring that the bezel is pushed firmly down onto the sea glass. Once that is done, I start to burnish the bezel on that top edge, pushing it a little bit further down onto the sea glass. That's going to ensure that my sea glass is tight and secure, not going to rattle and not come loose. And there we have it, a sea glass pendant set in silver.